sounds like if we can kind of consistently execute some of the experiences you guys are kind of identifying here, that kind of bleeds into kind of the culture of the company, or maybe it is the culture that is the glue that continues to stick it all together. Now, I mean, my marketing brain kicks in, and I'm sure Justin kind of yours does too, right? Because it's like, how do I market that, you know? So I'm thinking kind of from like a marketing culture perspective. All right, you know, how do we create this experience, and it's not just for us, but it's for our staff, and they kind of get behind it, right? I find sometimes that we put out these we define what the customer experience is. Then we go to our marketing agency and say, all right, guys, I got an idea. We're going to do this, right? And the marketing agency goes, yeah, that sounds good. We should totally do that. And then you bring it back to your staff. You're like, oh, shit, boss, seriously, man? Like, you want to do a what, 24-hour what? Huh? Oh. So, like, how, I guess that'll be kind of my question. It's like, how do we connect the dots, I think, from what we want to give our customers an experience, but then also what our staff can execute, you know, from a culture perspective, you know? And I'd love to kind of get your thoughts, Justin. I'll work my way down.
I mean, for me, it's a lot of the things we've already talked about. It's education, internal,
yes.
right? Make sure your staff knows what's going on.
So does that become the marketing then? Like,
I mean, it could.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends. I think it depends on who's, you know, kind of running the show. I think far too often there is a drop-off of communication. The waterfall stops, and the staff doesn't know what's happening and what's expected of them going into accountability. And then you've got a customer that walks in, hey, I heard about this great whatever, and the salesperson unfortunately isn't, you know, educated to know exactly what's going on.
Yes.
So I think that's part of it. You know, from a culture perspective, I think listen to your staff. What do they feel will be helpful? What do they feel their customers, the people that they talk to every single day, what are the things that, you know, they want to do and try to execute? Again, ultimately I think a lot of it is about communication and just understanding, you know, what the team thinks will work.
I think it's a great point. And like when I think of fix ops, and you know, when I talk to service managers and service departments about experiences, they're like, yeah, experience, yeah. Can I answer the phone now? Okay. What do I need to tell you right now so that I can go answer the bloody phone? Right? Excuse me. But man, it's hard, right? I mean, just talk about like, I mean, with sales, there's a bit of a time. There's a time element to it, right? I can kind of slow down, speed up, but with, you know, the fix ops, it's, man, it has got one speed, and it's at that one speed all the time. So, you know, from a culture perspective, how do we maintain, you know, that buy-in from our staff to consistently execute on that experience? I'd love to get your thoughts, Michael.
Jason, that's a really great question, and I think there's a lot of talk out there today that culture starts from the top down, whether you're a dealer principal or general manager. But for me, as a fixed ops director, culture is a byproduct of my vision, and my vision might be different than my general managers or my dealers, and it's only because we're on two different sides of the house. And I'm not saying there's a wall that separates us, but I'm saying we do speak two different languages. The variable side and the fixed side speak and are identified by different metrics instead of the totality of the success of the entire dealership. Just my opinion.
No, I completely agree with you, and it's a great point. Jim, for yourself, that bleed over from culture to experience, like how do you kind of bake those two together?
Pay plan.
All right.
Has a lot to do with it as well. You can come and say, we need to do this, and this is why we need to do it, and this is the customer experience the consumer needs to have. You have to be consumer-centric. Everyone says, this is what we need to do. But your pay plan's not optimized for the staff to do that, then they're not going to do it, in my opinion.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a really good point. If we're asking them to, if the experience is not necessarily tied into their pay plans, are they really going to consistently execute that? That's actually a really good point.
Thanks for tuning in to the Matador Yachtcast with your host, Jason Harris. Don't want to miss new content? Be sure to check out the full podcast library at matador.ai to stay in the know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting.